Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Autódromo José Carlos Pace for the final round of the GPVWC Formula Challenge Series here in Brazil, round 16. As always, I will be joined by Menno Klont alongside me.
Hello, Josh. So, round 16, already the end of the 2021 championship, Josh. And yeah, looking forward here in Brazil. As always, I personally really like this track. It's not the most difficult track, but yeah, it gives a good challenge for all the drivers. So yeah, round 16. Josh, what do you expect from this round?
Well, like I say, it's a good track. I think it works really well as a final round of the season. Always gives some good racing. So just look forward to that. Obviously, the standings really are all tied up in terms of the winners. TCS Off Racing winning the team standings, and Jake Dennehan winning the driver standings. So we don't have too much to keep an eye on there, but there are still battles all throughout the table. People wanting to pick up those final few positions before going into the next season. Some of them potentially important. I think the main one being Team Frelik Kings Racing, fighting for P3 in the team standings. That could help them in their bid to get promoted for the next season, if they choose to do so. So yeah, it should be interesting to keep an eye on those little battles up and down the grid.
Yeah.
But in general, I think everyone's looking forward to just some good racing to end out the season.
Yeah, personally, one of the battles I look forward for tonight is to see who will finish P4 in the Drivers' Championship. Because we've got Scott Mitchell, who had quite a good season. Then with Isaac Morris, who's, I believe, only 2 points behind in the standings. And Dylan Platt, who is, I believe, 15 points behind Scott Mitchell. So they potentially could all get that P4. So that's, I think, the battle I look forward to. And another battle is for P7 in the Drivers' Championship between Joseph Hurlock and Jack Nichols. So I guess that will also be an electrifying battle.
Yeah, exactly. I think that battle for P4 really, I mean, it should be interesting, especially as obviously Isaac Morris. He started off the season as one of the title contenders, but he decided to take a bit of a break halfway through the season. He's come back, but he's shown that he's still got the pace. He's got double podium, double P3 in America last time out. So showing that he's still got the pace that he had at the start of the season. So I think he'll be, quite excited to get that P4, and I think he'll be quite happy with that. But obviously, Scott Mitchell and Dylan Platt as well would both deserve it too. I believe so. Dylan Platt actually has a 10-place grid penalty, so that'll make it a little bit more difficult for him to try and get those points over the other two. But anyway, the drivers are now heading out for the qualifying session here, final qualifying of the season, and they'll be wanting to get in the best laps they can to end out the season. We're on board with Dylan Platt at the moment. Like I say, it's only a 10-place grid penalty, so I'm sure he'll still be pushing, trying to start as high up as he possibly can. So we'll just have to wait and see what sort of times he can do.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. What we will see, who will be fast, who will be, well, not that fast. But I guess with this layout, this track, I think times will be quite close. I think it's quite easy to be close in like maybe a second or 1.5 seconds slower. It's getting the final few tenths out of the car in that that flying lap. I think that's the skill you need to show if you want to start at the front.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing as well that we're going to have to keep an eye on to, potentially make this even more of an interesting finale is that there is a decent chance of rain around Sao Paulo at the moment. I believe, just checking on the weather right now, it is raining around the area. So this will be quite important for the drivers as well to set a time early, just in case it does come later on in this session. But obviously we saw in Suzuka that the rain threw up a lot of surprises there, a lot of a few incidents, but just a lot of interesting results there. So the drivers will want to get their laps in now, just in case.
I agree, and I believe we can't see that now, but we've got a few I think one-off liveries for cars. I believe TCS has got a different livery than normal, and I believe Team Frelik as well. So hopefully we can show those liveries soon, and we talk a bit more about that. But now let's talk about the sector times, and let's see who's going purple in the first run. I believe it's Kotmich who now has got the fastest first sector of everybody. So he is on a flying first sector at least. But Dylan Platt is now purple in sector 2. So I think he looks quite racy. What can he do? What's the lap he put in? A 20.538. How good is that in comparison? Let's look at the rest. Scott Morris with a 22.5. Tommy Koivunen with a 121.6. Jake Dennehan can't get the lap time of Dylan Platt in his first run. He's 1/10 slower, and Isaac Morris is around 3/10 slower than Dylan Platt. So Dylan put in a good first lap. Josh, is there anything you notice from everybody setting a time now?
One personal notice is Alejandro Lopez just got up into P3 there. Obviously he's not done any races this season, has he? Formula Challenge. But I believe he has been around sim racing obviously before. So he's coming straight in, got P3 at the moment. But also the fact that for a second there, the top three were the people in that fight for P4 in the driver standings. Dylan Platt, Scott Mitchell and Isaac Morris.
Oh, but who's got P1 now?
Yeah, Mike Quint. He's gone 2 tenths quicker than Dylan to take the top spot for now. So that's an interesting first set of laps. I guess the main one being Jake Dennehan being a little bit further down. He's won the championship, so we know he's quick, but at the moment not quite the quickest.
Yeah, well, I talked with Mike Quinn a few days ago, and he said to me like, "Oh, I would really love to win a race one, or at least do very well at this final round of the season." And he said to me, "I'm so confident in my what I can do here at this track." And actually, at the first round of his qualifying, he actually shows that he's confident. He put in the fast lap right away, 2 tenths faster than everybody else. So that's quite good for his first run. But of course, the others can now respond to that. But with the chance that we get rain, this is, I think, very good that you put it in so early in the qualifying session. George, what do you think about that?
Yeah, like I said, there's always a chance of that coming down at some point. So got to get the good first lap in, because it could always get pouring down while you're in the pits, ready for your second lap, and then it'll be very difficult to improve. So, yeah, at the moment, I mean, I'm sure Mike Quint will be hoping that it does start pouring down with rain right now.
And we've got a crasher. We've got Tom Park, who went Olympic, but I think no medal rewarded there. But he did do a lot of, I think, pirouettes, or how you call it. So he's got quite a bit of damage from that crash there. But he's still, except his front wing, everything is attached, so he can go to the pits and get a fresh car, how they say it. So that's quite good. Let's see, are people improving? Quite a few improving, but
yeah, a few further down improving. I think at the moment, at least the top 10 really have all gone back into the pits. They're out laps preparing for their second run. At the moment, the rain is holding off, so they'll be hoping to be able to get their second run in.
Let's see what Alexandro Valencia can do. He's now in last position, but he didn't set a time. Where can he jump into? I think it's a decent lap. Where can this bring him to? He jumps to P21. So that's quite a decent lap. So he's 1.2, nearly 1.3 seconds off pole position time now. And he's P21. So that's quite something, George, that you've got so many drivers so close, in this field. Of course, it's also the track, which is giving this, but it's a very close battle, and I think every mistake you make in this qualifying session will put you places down on the grid. It's I think the thing you want to make no mistakes if you can.
Yeah, well, as you talk about that, we were on board with Luke Mitchell, who did set a very quick set to 1 time, but I think as you were talking about it, he did make a mistake at some point in set to 2. Got us about 7 tenths compared to the top runners. After his first set time was pretty much equaling the fastest in the session. So, like I say, one small mistake he made clearly in set to 2, and he's down in P14.
Ooh, and who jumps to P2? So. Who jumps to P2? It is Damien
Scouron. Yeah. In the other car with the special livery, Team Frelik.
Yeah. So the current top 10 is in P10 Tom van der Voort, Guillermo Mas for Team Frelik, he's returning in P9, with Isaac Morris now in P8, Jake Danahan only in P7, but yeah, he's our champion, so I can expect something from him the next 7 minutes. Then we've got Alejandro Lopez for Alpha Delta Racing in P6, Kenneth Singleton in P5, Scott Mitchell in P4, Dylan Platt in P3 with Damon Scorer in P2, and Mike Quint currently has pole position with 7 minutes to go in this session.
And interestingly, I'm just looking on the timing at the moment. No one really inside the top 10 is improving. You had Isaac Morris did improve a little bit in set to 1, but then been down really in set to 2. Tom van der Voort as well is slightly improving in set to 1, but first we'll see where Isaac Morris goes. And he does improve his time, but doesn't jump up in position. So, there's definitely no rain at the moment. But
purple sector from Jake Danahan. So, he waited a bit to show his skill, but it seems to be having timed it perfectly. So he now goes there, and where will he jump to? I think it will be a top place in the top 4 where can he jump to, and it's pole position, current pole position time for Jake Danahan. And of course, we knew he was good, but now he steals pole position away just from Mike Quint. Mike Quint is still very close, and Mike Quint is going faster in his first sector than he was at his fastest lap. Let's see, but I believe his second sector is quite slow, so he will not do it on this lap. So I guess he will go into the pits right away. Yes, he will. Yeah.
Jake Danahan here though, after setting that time, he's gone and set a absolutely smashing set to 1. Gone a lot quicker than anyone else. So it'll be interesting to see if he's going to finish this lap. I would have thought the tyres maybe wouldn't be quite as good on the second lap, but
Yeah.
He's done it in sector 1, so we'll see what sector 2 time is. See if it's
I
kept alive in those tyres.
I think it's mainly sector 2 where he will be lacking if the tires are done. If the tires are toasted, then he will, I think, be slower in sector 2. And
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
yeah, he is.
he is about half a second down, sorry, in sector 2. So, well, showing that he's still got time to find there in sector 1 at least.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to for the final run. But meanwhile, behind, yeah, I like that he did that. As I was saying that no one was improving, is when he took pole or provisional pole. But looking behind, we've now got Dylan Platt with slight improvement in sector 1. I'll see what he could do on the rest of the lap. I think everyone else really at the top may have gone back into the pit just to reset. And,
yeah, I see Tom Vos now in P9, so he improved his lap. He's now in the top 10, so quite good. So Tom Parker is faster, Guillaume Maas is going faster in sector 1, so we've got a few guys that go faster, but what can they do in the rest of the lap? Let's first look at what Dylan can do.
Yeah, he's a couple of attempts down, set to do that, and he pits.
Because he's down. Because he's down on his time, he knows that he can most likely not improve, and they go into the pits because they know they can do another run with nearly 4 minutes or 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, I think Guillaume Maas making the same decision. He was up in sector 1, down in sector 2. So
but look at Damien. Look at Damien's Coron. I believe he is faster in his second sector.
And he pits as well.
He pits as well. So
people clearly, already potentially at almost their limit here, and not really finding the time to improve in these.
Oh, look at Jack Nichols. Jack Nichols has got a great slipstream here. And what can he do? He's now in P12. Will he get help by the other car? Oh, he jumps to P11. Oh, very good final sector.
Beat Guillaume Maas there by 1,000, so that slipstream proved very useful. Not sure if it was a planned slipstream or just one that he happened to get on the lap, but either way, it helped him a lot there.
Yeah, and I hope we can go on board or have a camera on Mike Quint, because he is faster in his first sector. Can he improve? And also Jake Danahan is putting in his first sector, so it's game on for the battle for pole, while Mike Quint now goes purple in sector 2. Is he the guy that can beat our champion to pole in the final round? He goes for it. Where can he end up?
As tight as line as possible, shorten the run, and he does improve.
Pole. Oh, but what can Jake Danahan do? Can he go for pole as well? I don't see a second sector from him, not yet. What can he do?
Yeah, Jake's sector 1 is pretty much the exact same as Mike Quint's there. His sector 2, what's that going to be? I think he should be crossing it out. He's backed off, I think. Up for another lap, because that was a very slow sector 2 there.
Yeah, but
so
Jake is too late to go for the pits and go out again, so he needs to push for a second lap. And I'm not sure if he will have the tires for it. So is this match point for Mike Quint?
I've just noticed Jake Danahan actually has quite a few cars in front of him, who I'm sure will also be wanting to push and not back off their lap. So, yeah, this could be it for Jake Danahan, or could be a pole for Mike Quint. We'll have to wait and see. There's still obviously a lot of other drivers as well going around the track that could try and take it away from him.
Yeah,
Jake Danahan is quicker in sector 1 though.
But we saw this before. It's all about sector 2 and sector 3. Can he keep the tires alive? Or maybe because he backed off the previous lap, the tires will be alive now. So that will be very interesting. I think also worth mentioning Stefan Scheider, now in P13. He improved to quite a good lap time.
Yeah, Jake Danahan here then pushing on. He's sliding a lot there. I noticed he had a little bit of a lock up as well earlier in the lap, so maybe his tyres are just can't quite handle 2 laps in a row. Let's see what his sector 2 time is. Across the split here, it's almost matching what he did in his first run. Not quite, but it could still be it for him. He only needs a 300th improvement. As he climbs up the hill, it's going to take as tight a line as possible, just like Mike Quint did. Not quite. Running it out across the line, and he does improve, but only by 2 thousandths. So at the moment, that is Mike Quint on pole. As not too much longer of the session left. I think everyone's just started their final lap. As Guillaume Mas jumps up to P4 there.
Guillaume Mas, a very good final lap. But look at Dylan Platt. Dylan Platt is still on, I believe, a fast first sector. And he looks quite decent on this track. What can he do? Can he snatch away a top spot, or at least a spot in the first 2 rows, starting rows? At least on this qualifying. I believe he's got a grid drop. But of course, he's pushing very
Isaac
hard.
Morris as well here. He was slightly down a set to 1, but a green set to 2, and he's got a little bit of a slipstream, but I don't think he was going to improve there by the looks of that reaction over the line. So Isaac Morris doesn't improve, stays P9 at the moment.
This is very interesting. What can Dylan do? I think he can improve a few positions. A very tight line for Dylan. Opens his DRS. Can he jump to P3 or better? Yes, he can. Yeah. Wow. Let's see. Oh, it's so close. Yeah. So he jumped 2 positions. That's very good from Dylan here. I believe nearly everybody now set a lap time.
I think so. Yeah. I think that is everyone done and dusted for the session.
Jack Nichols. We're waiting for Jack Nichols, maybe, or is he done?
No, I think he is on a lap. It's green sets 2. I think his set to 1 might be a little bit down on what he's done before. Let's see, as a cross line, and he doesn't improve. So he'll be P12 still. So I believe that is everyone done for this qualifying session. So we've got Mike Quint taken pole. He mentioned that he wanted a good pace to round out the season, and he's done that here.
He wanted this. So very, very good. So let's take you to the at least the qualifying results. It's Mike Quint, then it's Jake Danahan in P2, Dylan Platt in P3, Damien Scowron in P4, with Guillaume Mas in P5, Scott Mitchell in P6, Kenneth Singleton in P7, with Alejandro Lopez in P8, Isaac Morris in P9, and Tom Vos rounds out the top 10. Then we've got Tom Vandervoort in P11, Jack Nichols in P12, with Stefan Scheider, a very good P13, with Mikael Tumala P14 and Tom Parker P15. Alex Lehoux is in P16 with Gijs Sonneveld in P17. Luke Mitchell in P18 with Alessandro Valente in P19 and Duan Halsal in P20. Then we've got the final 10 runners. We've got Damir Kuratko in P21 with Tommy Koivunen in P22, Remco de Zeeuw in P23 with Jessica Pelletier in P24, Ben Willis in P25, Kevin Morville, I expected more, but he's starting from P26 with Bruno Sousa Ferreira in P27. Scott Morris, I believe, making his debut in the Formula Challenge, is in P28 with Lucas Thailand, who for sure is making his debut in P29, and Maxime Bulu in P30. Anything to add, Josh?
I guess just what I was talking about in warm-up, that Dylan Platt does obviously have that 10 post grid penalty, so he'll be down in P13, but also Luke Mitchell has a 20 post grid penalty, so he will be starting from last place on the grid, as he only qualified P18. So unfortunate for them, but we'll see if Dylan is, both of them are in their fights in the championship. They're all quite close, so hopefully they can fight through the grid and potentially have a better race too.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, let's go for a small break now, and then we will be back for race 1 soon. So.
Welcome back here at the end of the warm-up session for the final race 1 of the season. So we'll still have a race 2 after this to go as well. As you can see there, it's actually, as I can't see there, but I believe it's 18 laps for the race here. Yes, it is. So 18 laps for the drivers here, but obviously it's a relatively short lap. So it's, yeah, shouldn't be too bad for the drivers. Tyre wear shouldn't really be an issue either. So we should see some proper sprint driving, not really having to worry about the tyres, and just going all out to have a good race at the end here. As in a second, we should see the drivers popping onto the grid for the formation lap. But Menno, have you got any predictions for this race here? Obviously, we've got Mike Quint on pole, and he already said that he'd really like a race 1 win here. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, interesting to see what will happen. Of course, I expect there will be a big fight for the win. I can see Quint and then being in there, but I can see even more people being very close. And I think it's all about who's not making mistakes and Of course, yeah. Who's ahead at the final lap? Because what can DRS do at the long sector 3? So it will be very, very interesting. But I expect how they say it, a clash of the titans. So a very interesting race 1. They want to go for it once more on this first race of the season, which of course gives more points than the one race 2. So will be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So as the drivers head out onto their formation lap, we'll be able to run you through the grid. Obviously, like we mentioned, Mike Quint on pole there with Jake Denhan in P2, and then it's the 2 team finishers, Scouron and Mass in P3 and 4. That's a good showing for them at the end of the season there, so it'll be good to see what they can do. We've got Scott Mitchell there in P5, kind of Singleton in P6, Alejandro Lopez P7, and Isaac Morris in P8. And then Tom Voss, his TOP Esports teammate in P9, Tom van der Voort in P10, Jack Nichols in P11, and Stefan Schreider in P12. Then Dylan Platt with his penalty down in P13, with Michael Tamala P14, Tom Parker P15, and Alex Lahu in P16. Then it's Gijs Sonneveld in P17, Alessandro Valente P18, Dan Hulsel P19, and Damir Karatko in P20. And Tommy Koivunen P21, Remco De Zeo P22, Jessica Pelletier P23, and Ben Willis P24. It's Kevin Morville P25, Bruno Souza Ferreira P26, Scott Morris in P27, and Lucas Tylen in P28. And then rounding out the grid, you've got Maxim Bewley P29 and Luke Mitchell with his penalty all the way down in P30. But all drivers will be taking the grid. They're all doing the formation lap, so no one starts from the pits. So it'll be interesting to see how all 30 of these cars are going to make it down into turn 1, and really more importantly down to turn 4. That's sort of where the action zones more is on this lap 1, just because everyone's still bunched up there. But we just have to wait and see what the drivers can do.
Yeah, we shall see if it will be clean. Of course, normally you can see quite a few incidents at, I guess, turn 1, but hopefully we will not have too much problems there. Look at the field. This is a beautiful camera point. Only we can't see the lights now, but I believe they will be on shortly. Waiting for it on board with the pole man Mike Quint. Waiting for it. 1 light. Yeah, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are go. And it's a very good start from Mike Quint. I think better than Jake Danahan. And what can Demons Coburn do? Is going around the outside. Oh, he's trying it, and yeah, I think it's quite clean now. Into turn 1, turn 2, Mike Quint is still leading, but Jake Denhan has got quite a good run. What can he do into turn 2? Let's see. Oh, it's very close to Mike Quint, goes around the outside, brakes very late, tries it. Can he do it? Still next to it, and I believe they're still side by side. Mike Quint is still, I think, ahead, but Jake Denhan is trying everything at the moment to pass him there, but he couldn't do it there. And let's see, I believe no carnage for now. I believe everybody is got away without problems. No, I believe Tom Parker has damage. He lost his front wing. So Tom Parker needs to go to the pit. And that's, of course, a shame for him. Well, I believe we've got another crasher, and it's one of the Thunderdog cars. Is it Dylan? It's Dylan!
Yeah. Dropping down the order there, all the way down to P30.
Also lost his front wing.
Yeah, he got sort of caught up with one of the Alpha sharers there. So unfortunate for him. But yeah, in general, that's a relatively clean first lap. Yeah, it was a great start from Mike Quinn off the line. But yeah, Jake Denhan got it back down into P4, turn 4, sorry. But Mike Quinn has held on, kept the lead for now. But yeah, you've got the 2 Team Frelik cars quite close behind.
And I hope we can get an onboard of one of the TOP Esports cars, because Tom Voss really had a flying start from P9 now in P7. And I believe it's Isaac Morris who lost at least one position, and it looks like he's struggling at the moment. He cannot follow the group in front, and it's Tom Vos who had an amazing start. So Dylan Platt, lost his front wing, and I believe that it will be very difficult now to get that P4 in the championship. Also, Tom Parker lost his front wing, and I believe that can be very tricky because they were in a fight with, I believe, Smile Power, where Tom Parker's driver is in a fight with Team Alpha Shera. So very interesting what will happen there at the end of the race. But of course, for now, it's still Mike Quint leading, but Jake Danahan is pushing quite hard, and it looks like Damian Scoron cannot follow. But maybe he is lucky and still has got DRS when it opens. I believe that's next lap.
Yeah, I think Jake Danahan there is just having a little look, showing Quint that he's still there, but not quite going for any moves at the moment. Maybe waiting for that DRS, which he does have for now. He already had the top speed advantage over Mike Quint. Let's go look. He's going to have to go around the outside here at turn 4. And he does do it. He holds it at the apex. They're still side by side on the exit, just like on lap 1. Yeah. And just like on lap 1 as well. I think Mike Quint
still has
just had the better exit, but they're still side by side. Jake's further along this time. Going to have to keep it in there just about, and he's done it. He's got him. Mike Quint is going to have to back out of that one. And Jake Danahan reclaims the lead off Mike Quint.
Yeah,
again, but there's 2 team third cars still very close behind.
But I think this is quite smart from Mike Quint, because if he can stay close in the next couple of turns, he will of course get the DRS for the whole sector 3 or partly the sector 3. But maybe he can repass Jake Danahan here then. He is quite focused, quite a good exit from Mike Quint there, but also from Jake Danahan. Is he close enough? I think he will be, because DRS will give quite a few kilometers. So he opens now his DRS, and there he goes to the inside. Mike Quint retakes the lead. Only needs to brake later. Can he do that? Yes, he can do that. Oh, misses the corner. Mike Quint misses the corner. Yes, and Jake Danahan passes. And now look at what Damian Scoron does. Damian Scoron is very close, but look at Guillaume Mas in P4. He's got a double slipstream, and now Mike Quint has got his hands full on both Team Frelik's cars. Wow, Jake Danahan just looks like he checked out. But
yeah, I was about to say that. You've got Tom Vos there as well, with Scott Mitchell getting past into P7. And mine as well. I think Isaac Morris has had a bit of an issue. He's dropped all the way down to P13 now. But yeah, I was going to say that if Mike Quint and Danahan keep just swapping positions like that, they could have held on to the top 2 to the end of this race. But yeah, Mike Quint there just a little bit too eager on the brakes to take the lead back. But I think he's still going to be within the DRS zone of Jake Danahan, just maybe a little bit too far back to make a move now. But we know he's got the pace, so I'm sure he can close that gap back and try and be within attacking range by the end of the race. But yeah, interesting that the Team Frelik guys there, I think they sort of, maybe they didn't want to try anything too aggressive, because obviously they each have their teammate right next to them, so they weren't able to capitalise. But now they're going to have a little bit of a switch. Guillaume Mas is going to go up the inside of Damon Scaron into turn 1, and obviously Scaron isn't going to defend from that one too aggressively, so maybe Guillaume Mas now has a little bit more pace and could drag his teammate along. We'll have to wait and see.
We've got a
behind
move
them now.
Yeah, Jack Nichols for a move on Tom Vandervoort for P9. They both open DRS. What can they do? We've got quite a few battles.
Yeah, just in front of them there, you've got Kenneth Singleton trying to go around the outside of Alejandro Lopez, but wasn't quite able to do it. You've got Tom Vos defending from Scott Mitchell there into turn 4, and now Jack Nichols dead ahead of Don Halsall going up the hill.
Yeah, and Don Halsall looks pretty fast on this track. He made his debut here in Formula Challenge exactly 1 year ago, and then he was quite fast here. So this track seems to suit him, because he already is in P11, and hopefully he can end this season with a bang, in a good way, not in a bad way, but with a decent result. So let's keep an eye on what Duan is doing.
Yeah, in terms of good starts as well, so Luke Mitchell obviously started last in P30, he's already up to P19, so he's going to be hopefully charging for the points and potentially reverse grid for race 2. Meanwhile at the front, Mike Quint here still got the DRS, but like I said, not quite close enough to go for anything. Guillaume Mas being now in front of his teammate Scaron.
And we've got a great battle for P5. Yes, that's Kenny Singleton and Alejandro Lopez, who are like fighting for every available space on the track. Now I think it's Lopez trying to pass Singleton around the outside. Oh, they touch, Josh. They touch. Oh, and Lopez is off and now on. Okay, I believe he didn't lose too much, but they touched there. So,
yeah, I think Lopez here, he's going to have to try and go around the outside here. Can't quite do that. It's a difficult place to go for it. But he's going to go for it, send up the inside there to the next corner.
That was a bit aggressive.
Around the outside of the left-hander, but not quite able to do it. Yeah, that was quite aggressive. Oh, and he's caught on the grass. And that's going to ruin any chance of an attack. Tom Voss now having a look up the inside. And this all started actually with Lopez at turn 1. He just made a slight mistake on his own. He just locked up, went a bit too deep, and that allowed Singleton through. And now, now they were having a little bit of battle on their own, and now they've got Tom Voss and everyone else to worry about.
And Jake Dennehan also got Mike Quint to worry about because he's closer and closer and closer, but I don't think he can pass yet. But he closed the gap again. Let's see. And how's the battle for P6 going? Tom Voss is trying to outbreak Alejandro Lopez, but he can't. But it is a very intense battle there for P5, 6, 7, 8. And Tom van der Voort and Jack Nichols are quite close as well. So a lot of drivers in.
Yeah, you got Scott Mitchell now looking at the outside of Tom Voss. It's difficult for Tom Voss here. He tried to have a look around the outside of Lopez at turn 1, but then that allowed Scott Mitchell through on the inside, so he really needs to play it careful here. Got a replay here of Tommy Koivunen having an issue out of the center S's. What happened here, they tried to go 3 wide down the straight and they just came together. Yeah, it's difficult to do 3 wide and you don't all know where each other are. That can happen. So unfortunately Tommy Koivunen there didn't look like he lost any parts of his car. But obviously he's lost a lot of time, and Jessica Plete is out. I'm not sure if they were involved in that incident.
Hopefully we can go on board with Mike Quint, because Mike Quint is very close. I think he can go for a move at the end of the straight. No, I think he's just too far, or will he go for it? Will he send it? No, not yet. But he is quite close. He can match the current pace of Jake Dennehan.
Sorry, Kenny Singleton's in. Kenny Singleton, he's just pulled into the pits and just retired.
Oh.
That's a very weird one. He didn't look like he had any damage, any issues with the car, anything like that. But he's just pulled into pits and retired. So that opened up Lopez really, P5. So Scott Mitchell did get past Tom Voss at some point there, and they made contact to turn 4 with Tom Voss trying to get back around him. He's trying to go around the outside, not quite work. Tom van der Voort has got caught out there by one of them and has lost the position now to Jack Nichols. Don Hulsel, is he going to have a look up the inside? Not quite. It's all Tom Voss losing his rear end there, just about holding on to it and keeping that P7. But yeah, that's a lot of battling happening there in the mid-pack. So there's some good points on offer here, so you can see why they're doing it. But yeah, Tom van der Voort here, I think, just got caught out with them 2 battling, tried to take advantage of it a little bit, and he got quite lucky that he just lost 1 place there and not any parts of his car.
Oh, Mike Quint is really, really close. He will go for it, but he needs to go around the outside. Can he do it? Of course, he's got DRS, so I think he can pull it off. But yeah, Jake Dennehan has got quite a lot of speed in this car. Oh, brakes late. Oh, they're very close. Jake Dennehan let him live. And now Mike Quint is on the lead again. But Jake Dennehan is still there. Let's see, can he get back? Goes around the outside. Now he's got DRS. Will have more top speed. Can he brake later? I think he can, but will Mike Quint brake later? No. So it's Jake Dennehan now back to the lead with Mike Quint with a little bit of a mistake now, still in P2.
Yeah, I don't think Jake Dennehan was really wanted to make any sort of move at turn 1 there. I noticed he lifted off the throttle quite early. I think was planning to get the DRS down to turn 4, but I think he was caught out really by how early Mike Quint was braking. So that enabled him to keep his nose up the inside, but he's retaken the lead here. Looking behind as Tom Voss has lost 2 positions there to Van der Voort and Nichols. So not sure what exactly happened with him, but he won't be too happy with that, I'm sure, as we might get a replay of it now. He's trying to go around the outside up the hill, and I think that, yeah, that's where he just lost his rear end, and lost the positions there, but he's just been...
We've got Mike Quinn again with another move on Jake Denhan around the outside. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, he can pull clear, I think. Brakes later again. But Jake Denhan is also very good on the brakes. And now Mike is past. But what will happen in the next straight? Yeah, now Mike has got a good exit there. So I believe he now retakes the lead. And yeah, now he will not get past in the next DRS zone. So Mike Quinn now leads for Jake Denhan, with Damon Scoburn in P3 and Yilma Mas in P4.
Yeah, I noticed there that it was a few laps ago the Team Frelik cars just swapped around again to let Scow run back through. I think he just seemed to have a much better pace than Mas. I think he had a little look up the inside a few times. I think just showing Mas that he has the pace and that it could work better for the team if Scow runs through. And it does mean that these top two can't just fight between themselves, so they do need to worry about these Frelik cars behind, because they really aren't too far behind, almost within the DRS zone for Scouron. So I'm sure that's what he'll be pushing on to get as they run back up the hill. Again, I noticed that lap Denhan was just wanting to sort of let Quint through at turn 1, lifted off a bit early to try and get the DRS down to turn 4, but now Denhan is a little bit too far back, I think, to make any sort of move here. He would need a lot of overspeed, and he doesn't quite seem to have it. So for now, they're just going to keep it with Mike Quinn in P1 and Denhan P2. But maybe will he be able to have the run out for turn 3 here? Potentially, but he's quite far back. And further behind, you've got there Don Halsall and Isaac Morris. I think they were touching wheels a little bit into turn 1. Isaac Morris has made the move and got his made his way up into the top 10. So again, after dropping back a few positions from the start, he's back into the top 10 now. I'm sure he'll be looking to hunt down Jack Nicholls.
Yeah, it's a very, very good fight so far, all around, I think, the drivers. But the top 4, are still quite close, and can they even get into the DRS of Jake Denhan? I think that's important, because then he would, I guess, still have a decent chance to win this race. Josh, what do you think?
Exactly, these Scowen especially has had good pace. He at the start of the race at least, he was on the pace of these top 2. Not quite close enough to be able to make any sort of move, but he did have the pace of them. So yeah, if needs to battle more, I'm sure he'll be let into the fight. I'm sure he'll be happy to to be dragged back into that and potentially go for the win here. But for now, once again, into turn 1, no moves happening there. They'll look further behind. I think they've all sort of moved away from each other a little bit. But you've got Isaac Morris potentially looking for a move on Jack Nicholls here. Not quite into turn 1. But he's going to be right on the back of him here, out of turn 3. As Isaac Morris with the DRS and the slipstream is going to be pushed, I think, to the outside here for turn 4. Make a little bit of contact down the straight, but Isaac Morris brakes a lot later. Oh, they make contact at the apex.
Yeah, they make contact, and that was quite interesting, because Isaac broke very late, but then I believe half lost it into the corner and then got a bit of a tap on the rear end, but luckily they got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they might have a little bit of damage, but it wasn't too big a hit, and they've both made it through. So Isaac Morris there, moving up 1 place into P9, and now it's his teammate in front. And I think they've all been closing up a little bit onto P6, trying to get back into that fight.
Look at the lead, because now it's Jake Denhan who's going to attack Mike Quint again. This battle isn't over. The Irishman is going around the outside, but can break later. So interesting. Will Jake Denhan then say, no, this is not the overtaking opportunity. It's this straight where I want to pass Mike Quint. So he's had quite a good exit. Now we'll have DRS. Can he pass Mike Quint here? Well, he's got quite a good round, good DRS. Needs to go around the outside. Can he pull it off? Tries to make it. early on the throttle, and I think he can make it. Or is it Mike Quint? Mike Quint is much better in the second phase of the corner, and now they're side by side. Who's got the who wants it the most? And now it's Jake Denhan who leads again, and Mike Quint in P2. But Mike Quint knows with DRS he can pass Jake. I think the next opportunity. So very, very interesting. And the harder they fight, the more likely Damien's Coron will get closer and closer and get that DRS as well. And when Damien got DRS, I think he will be on their rear wing in no time.
Yeah, and like I say, Jake clearly think on that turn 4 move is better but Mike Quint here, I think he's going to have a look up the inside of, or outside here of turn 1. Mike Quint clearly thinking that this is the better area of taking spot. Going to make the move. Jake Denham once again doesn't fight it too much. Obviously for Jake, he's won the championship already, so maybe it's for him an extra win. I'm sure he'd like it, but isn't fighting it too hard at the moment. But he's going to have a look back up the inside here at turn 4. Going to break about the same point with Mike Quint. They're still side by side through the corner. This time it's Denhan on the inside, and he makes the move. Mike Quint, I think, just ran off the track a little bit there, and has to sit behind Jake Denhan. But yeah, I noticed that Damien Scarron did now have the DRS, so he'll be looking to fly onto the back of these guys and potentially get involved in their battle.
Oh, very big battle for P11, 12, 13, and 14. Oh, 3 wide, will they touch? Oh, they will touch. It's Samala, it's Hassel, it's Lahu, and it's Sonneveld. Oh, and it touched, and it's Hassel as well. Oh, and lost his front rearing. Oh, no. Oh, sad. This is so sad. Oh, they all went for the same spot, Josh.
Yeah, there was, well, I think that part of the track, it's very difficult to get, it's difficult to make any sort of moves, but if you're trying to go 3 wide there, it's, I think that's always really how it's going to end up. But meanwhile, back at the front, you've got Mike Quint in the DRS and Sitzbjorn with Denhan, not quite close enough to make any move. But Scouron is definitely getting closer here. He's pulled away from his teammate Mass by quite a bit. Mass now 4 seconds back off the lead, so he don't seem to quite have the pace of these guys. But Scouron does, so he'll be hoping to get involved in this fight. But there's only 2 laps left, and Mike Quint has run wide there at the exit of turn 5. Not quite enough to let Scouron through, but yeah, Mike Quint, that's now 2 laps in a row, he's run wide there. He'll be not wanting to make that mistake again. And I think now they've got a couple of back markers here. Just the one back marker, sorry. So hopefully they don't get too involved in this battle. But yeah, further back there's been a lot of battling led side by side once again, almost in that corner. But yeah, this is a replay of the incident. So yeah, 3 wide on the exit there, sort of spread them all apart, but then they came back together for this next corner, and yeah, that's yeah, always going to happen. Downard also got quite unlucky with just how much force he hit the barrier there with.
Yeah, who did he hit? Who was it?
I believe that was Sonneveld that came into contact with, and then it was Tumala and Lahu who were just sitting behind and did well to avoid it, really. A car spinning off there, obviously not ideal, but yeah, relatively lucky that it was only the one driver that lost any parts there.
Well, we just had a great move from Tom van der Voort in P6. He is on fire at the later stage of this first race. And yeah, he is quite focused to get a better position with the team, wanting to pass Small Power Racing in the Constructors or the Teams Championship. And well, maybe they can. But of course, we've got a race after this one finishes.
Yeah, at the front as well, I noticed so the back marker didn't really help or hinder any of the drivers at the front, but Damien Scarron has dropped back out of the DRS here. I think the top 2, they've just kind of sat in a train for this last lap or so, and I think Scarron sort of needs them to battle to be able to get properly involved in their fight. But Mike Quint is much closer now than he has been the last couple of laps. Will he be able to make another move here and take Denhan in the slipstream and the DRS?
it will be very interesting to see where can Mike Quint pass. If he can pass Jake Denham, where can he pass him? Yes, and he passes him now into turn 1, but it's after the start-finish straight, or after the start-finish lines, I'm sorry. So I think Mike Quint already knows that if he is behind Jake Danahan at the final lap, at the final straight, then he cannot pull off the overtake before the finish. So he needs to find something else, and now actually Jake Danahan repasses Mike Quint after Mike did pass Jake Danahan. So yeah, it's unsure who will we see as a winner. I have no idea. It could be either one of them, or maybe it will be Damien. What do you think, Josh?
It's difficult to call. It's a little bit of mind games, I think, going on between both of them. Like I say, I know Jake Danahan once again doesn't want to fight at turn 1. He wants to let Mike Quint through there to then get the DRS back on him down to turn 4, and once again it worked for him. So I think Mike Quint, like I say, he knows that by the end of the straight here, well, by the start-finish line, this will switch human DRS. He probably won't catch Jake in time if it happens on the final lap. So he needs to figure something out here with only 2 laps to go. Well, going on to the final lap, I should say. He needs to figure out something to get past Jake and keep ahead of him as we get to the final corner, but he can't make a move there into turn 1. Will he be able to do what Jake's done last few laps into turn 4?
Oh, he's too far away.
Far away, yeah. It's going to be difficult for him, but he's got 600 DRS, but I don't think he'll be able to close in enough. And now we come into the stages where any move from here to the end of the lap is going to be quite difficult. And have to be a little bit of an aggressive move, but we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, further back, you've got Tom van der Voort, Scott Mitchell and Tom Vos all in a battle here for P6. Scott van der Voort going around the outside of Mitchell into turn 4, but not quite got the exit, and that's allowed Tom Vos up the inside of him. Is he going to be able to now hold it around the outside of his right-hander? Tom Vos on the outside, but no, Tom van der Voort breaks a lot later, gets that position back. So they all stay in the same position as they were going on to this lap.
Yeah, but who will win this race, said Josh? I think it will be Jake Danahan, but you never know. It's the final turn. Jake needs to have a very good exit, and I think he has. But Mike Quint also got a very good exit. Mike Quint needs to floor it, and hopefully he can pass for him then with the DRS. But I think he is too far away. I think this will be another win for Jake Danahan. Can he do it? Yes, he will. He wins the first race of the evening just before Mike Quint, who can't win this first race, with Damien's Coron impressive in P3, Jaume Maas after his return in finishing in P4, Alejandro Lopez P5, very good, well done. Scott Mitchell in P6 gives him a very good chance to get or stay in P4 in the championship. Tom van der Voort P7, decent points, very important for his team, with both the TOP drivers, Tom Vos and Isaac Morris in P8 and P9. That's very impressive, with Jack Nichols now in P10, with Gijs Zonneveld P11, Alex Lehoux in P12, Michael Tumal in P13, Remco de Zeeuw scores another 2 points in P14, and the final point from P30, now finishing in P15, is Luke Mitchell.
Yeah, a very interesting race there. Mike Quint just not quite in the right position at the right time really to win that race. Unfortunate for him was he had the pace there, but yeah, Jake Danahan showing really why he's the champion, and yeah, just quite a controlled drive to keep Mike Quint in check and take the win there. But yeah, very good job from the team third guys as well to well, almost secure their place in P3 in the team standings. Like I say, they were in a close battle with Kings Racing, but Kings Racing did score points themselves, but both cars beat them. And yeah, I like to mention Alejandro Lopez on his debut this year at least, with a very impressive showing in P5. Just kept a quiet race really, as we see Jake Danahan doing the donuts. I don't think he was, I don't remember him doing them at the last round, so yeah, able to do them at the final round. And here's gold TCS operation to celebrate both championships going to them. So So I think now, as we're going to run through just the rest of the standings, obviously Menno already did a great job of the point scorers. So P16 there was Lucas Tylen, P17 was Ben Willis, Dominic Koretko was P18, Stefan Schreider P19, and Maxim Bewley P20. That's a good job for him, really. He started on the back row. Then you got Bruno Sousa Freire P21, Tom Parker P22, Alessandro Valente P23. Dylan Platt, unfortunately, with that incident at the start, was only able to make his way up to P24, but he's still got a race 2 to try and get some points here. Scott Morris P25, Kevin Morville P26, and then the final finisher, Dylan Horsell P27. A shame there for sim racing guys. They were looking pretty good at the start of the race, but fortunately no points for them. And the final 2 finishers, which leads me to the 3 DNS of the race: Tommy Koivunen, Kenneth Singleton, and Jessica Pelletier. So that was the results of race 1 there. We're going to take a quick break here before heading to race 2, the final race of the Formula Challenge season. Hello and welcome back for race 2 here in Brazil for Formula Challenge. We had a very interesting race 1 with Jake Denham taking the victory, Mike Quint in P2. But now here for race 2, we've had confirmation that P12 is the reverse grid number, which means that Alex Lahoo will be on pole. And once we get onto the formation lap, we'll be able to run through what that means for the rest of the grid. But obviously we know it means that Jake Denham will be starting P12. Which is relatively far back for him to try and make his way through. But those top 2, well, really the top 3 with Scaron as well, seem to have quite a lot of pace over the rest of the field. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can make their way through the pack. But I see Alex Lahoo as well. It wasn't too bad in qualifying or race 1 pace-wise, so maybe it could be a good chance for him here to have a really good result. But we'll just have to wait and see.
The real question for me would be, can Jake Denham make this 4 in a row? Question mark.
4 wins in a row? Yes, because he got a double win in Kota.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be very interesting. We'll have to wait and see with that. Obviously, like I say, P12, it'll be quite tough for him to make his way all the way through the grid. But yeah, it could happen.
Yeah, we saw it before 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I think he will be one of the movers that's. I think he will be free in his mind and just goes for it. But yeah, will be very interesting who can win this. Yeah, any prediction for who you think could win it, Josh?
Well, I suppose somebody who has a good chance. He doesn't necessarily seem to have that great place here, but Isaac Morris, obviously he finished P9 in race 1, so he's going to be starting right at the front with P4 for race 2 here.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot for him. Obviously, we know he's a quick driver throughout the season. Like I say, maybe isn't quite on the pace as much here, but he's a good driver. He could, if he keeps his nose clean, could try and make his way through the guys in front. Obviously, the relatively less experienced, apart from Jack Nicholls, who will be starting P3. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think Isaac Morris has a decent shot here as well.
Yeah, agreed.
We'll run through what the whole rest of the reverse grid will be. So say we've got Alex Lahoo on pole with Heidi Sonneveld in P2 and Jack Nicholls P3, and then Isaac Morris in P4. And you'll have his TOP Esports teammate Tom Voss in P5 with Tom van der Voort P6. We've got Mitchell in P7 and Alejandro Lopez in P8. And it's the Team Furlich row there with Guillaume Mas P9 and Damon Scour on P10 with Mike Quint P11 and your race 1 winner Jake Denham in P12. And you've got Michael Tamala P13 with Renko Deseo P14 and Luke Mitchell P15 after his great jump up the order from race 1. Then you got Ben Willis there in P16. Then got the 2 AFPs P17 and 18, Branko and Schreider. Then it's Maxime Bewley P19, Bruno Sousa Ferreira P20. Then you've got Tom Parker P21, Alessandro Valente P22, Dylan Platt P23, and Scott Morris P24. Then it's Kevin Morville P25 with Dan Halsall P26, Tommy Koivunen P27, and Jessica Pelletier P28. And at the moment it looks like that'll be the grid. There are 2 people who I believe haven't made it back for race 2. Menno, one of them was the Academy car, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lucas Chilin, and the other one actually, I can't see who the other one is. Let's look. Let's see. Is that Kenny Singleton? I believe I can't see.
Yes, of course. Obviously, he pulled over in race 1, didn't he? I'm not sure if that was then a bit of a real life thing that he had to deal with. Obviously, pulled over in race 1 under weird circumstances and then hasn't made it back for race 2. So that's a shame to see. He had a lot of pace in race 1. But anyway, the grid is formed. We've got 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are away for the final time. It's a good start there from Sonneveld. He's jumped the hoot off the
Look
start,
at
but
Nichols.
Jack Nichols as well. He's going to make it 3 wide into turn 1, not quite. And Sonneveld at the moment seems to have it, but Jack Nichols is there around the outside of turn 2 of Alex Lahoo, and he's made it his way up into P2. Isaac Morris just sitting there in P4, and Tom Voss as well behind him. Meanwhile, behind you've got Tom van der Voort and Alejandro Lopez side by side. But Jack Nichols, though, is going to look around the outside of turn 4 here of Sonneveld. He does, he's going to make the move. Isaac Morris as well, meanwhile, makes his way up into P3 behind. And Tom van der Voort, I think, has lost out to Scott Mitchell there at some point, so he's down to P8. And Alex Lahoo, I think, just gave Isaac Morris a bit of a bump there up the hill.
Oh, 3 wide.
Yeah, I think Tom Voss and Lopez there both looking for the move up the inside, but they just sort of met in the middle. But they've all still.
They just know that this is the first laps. You can actually gain or lose quite a lot of positions, and that's why they all want to make the moves now. But of course, they need to make it stick in a good way. And let's see at the back of the field. Unfortunately, both the Thunderdog cars are behind, so a bad start from Dylan Platt and Scott Morris. But at the lead, it's Jack Nichols. And then it's Gijs Sonneveld. Oh, weaving is already started because Gijs is now in P2 but has got an enormous slipstream. But Isaac Morris now in P3. Breaks very late. Very late. And Alex Lahoo is trying, and Alex Lahoo is spinning. And he is off and loses his more positions. And even more positions. And rejoins in P13 will be P15 for Alex Lahoo.
And he's hit the wall there. He's lost the front wing.
No.
Contact wheel. I think that was the false Poloni there. So, fortunately, one small mistake from Alex Lahoo was compounded here into him losing his front wing. So that's a shame to see there. A good start.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the front, obviously Jack Nichols kept his lead there. Sonneveld P2 and Isaac Morris tailing them in P3. In terms of the leaders from race 1, you've got Mike Quint who's made his way up to P9.
Yeah.
But Dan only up to P11 at the moment.
And Alex Lahoo is out of the race, and Alessandro Valente as well. And yeah, just wanted to say for Alex Lahoo, he's tried the Formula Challenge now for a few rounds. He showed quite a lot of speed, but not the consistency. I really hope we will see him back next season in Formula Challenge, or at least in the GPVWC career ladder. But yeah, for this race, he is out, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a shame to see. Just noticed Isaac Morris actually made his way up into P2 there at some point on that lap, but Sonneveld is going to have a look back at him at the inside of turn 1. Not quite late enough on the brakes there, and Isaac Morris has kept it, and now DRS will be active. So Sonneveld, though, is very close to the back of Isaac, and Isaac isn't too close to the back of Nichols in front. So Sonneveld will have the stronger slipstream here. Will be able to make a move up the inside of turn 4. He's going to have a look, but again, not quite able to go late enough on the brakes, and Isaac Morris seems to have kept P2 for now.
Oh, if you've got a crasher, it's Don Hassel who lost his front wing again. So Don Hassel goes from a very good race 1 until a crash, and now he already is out. I believe he hit the rear of one of the other cars. It's unfortunate for Don Hassel.
Yeah, we'll go watch here as well. I actually did just notice that Guillaume Mas. Oh, that was.
Oh.
Yeah, he's lucky to have kept everything there and not hit anyone else. But yeah, I noticed that he'd had a, well, not a poor start necessarily, but dropped a lot of positions off the start there and was right at the back. So yeah, shame for him. And we'll go watch back as well. Alex Lahoo here. Tried to have a look up the inside, and there was just not quite enough room for him. And then I think it was just on the rejoin at this next corner here. Maybe drivers not quite seeing each other properly and came together. So shame there for Alex Lahoo. Like I say, he will show good pace, so yeah, would be good to see him back for next year. But meanwhile, back at the front, Sonneveld once again was looking for a move on Isaac Morris into turn 1, and not quite able to make it stick. But Isaac Morris here now has lost the DRS of Jack Nichols in front. So Sonneveld, is he going to be further alongside? He's going to brake very late to go around the outside here. But once again, not quite far enough alongside to do anything. Further behind, you've got Mitchell and Tom Voss getting very close there on the exit. But Tom Voss is still there in P5.
Yeah, and it's very interesting to see Skoron, Quint and Denhan in P8, 9 and 10. Of course, we know they both, or all three, should have really strong pace, but that's when they got clear air, and they don't have clear air now. So let's see if they can move up the grid quite a bit. Oh, well, there's a big fight in front. Oh, they're fighting so hard. And yeah, Alessandro Lopez nearly sent it on Kai Sonneveld, but yeah, couldn't make it stick. So after 5 laps completed, it is Jack Nicholls who's leading. Then it's Isaac Morris who's in P2, but he lost out on Jack Nicholls quite a lot of time. Now it's Guy Sonneveld in P3, but we've got a battle for P3. It's Alejandro Lopez in P4. Now it's going for P3, but they go 3 wide. Yeah, well, nearly, but Alejandro Lopez actually went to P3 with a big lockup, but he made it stick. Can Guy Sonneveld, can he get back to P3? He will try it. Needs to go around the outside of Lopez. Can he do it? Will try to walk the corner, but he can't. And now he makes a mistake. Oh, he hits Scott Mitchell. They're still side by side. Scott Mitchell and Guy Sonneveld. And Guy Sonneveld still stays ahead.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving around there. I noticed behind you had so Jake Danahan has made his way through on Mike Quint after Quint himself was trying to make him move on Scouron. So Danahan up to P9. Oh, and he's going to go for a move there up the inside of Scouron. He's going to make that stick. Still side by side on the exit. So it's a difficult corner. Stay side by side, and yet Danahan can't quite do it. And he doesn't have a look up the inside there. He's going to plan to get the slipstream and the DRS. Just split Scouron off there. So Danahan should be able to make a move here. Meanwhile, back at the front, you've got Scott Mitchell going for the move now on Sonneveld with the DRS. But Sonneveld himself also has the DRS, so they're evenly matched on the straight. Mitchell's going to have to get him on the brakes and around the outside, not quite able to do it. So he's going to have to set up for him moving to turn 4, but they just make a bit of contact there. That's potentially lost Scott Mitchell's momentum.
Oh, and a mistake from Tom van der Voort. Tom van der Voort is now vulnerable in P7. It's Jake Danahan going for P7, but it's also Scoron and Quint are so close for all those positions, but no crash. No, they're all professionals, so they all make it in without any problems here. So that's quite good.
Yeah, well, that's happened as well. So Scott Mitchell did make that move on Sonneveld at turn 4. I think he just saw Sonneveld ran wide. So it's lost that position, and Mitchell has moved his way up into P4. Further in front as well, so Isaac Morris has been just about closing in on Nicholls, but still not close enough to get the DRS. So at the moment, Nicholls has controlled it, and that'll be quite impressive for him. Obviously, his only race win of the season was all the way back in round 1 in Australia in the race 2 there. So he'll be very happy he can repeat that here, but still a long way to go in this race. And Isaac Morris is now closing in.
Mistake from Vos here. Vos made a mistake and now is behind the other Tom van der Voort. They're battling now for P6. But look at the double slipstream from Jake Danahan. He's going 3 wide. This is very risky, Mr. Danahan. But he actually pulls off to do one overtake and actually goes for the double. Forces Tom van der Voort
through the middle.
Oh, through the middle. And there's Quint.
Through the middle there.
There's Quint. Quint wants to at least F a score. He couldn't pass him in race 1, and now he's trying again. Oh, they're fighting so hard, Josh. They're fighting so hard, like their lives depending on it.
Yeah, and they're all, like you said before, they're all professionals. They're all keeping it on the track. Oh, I say that as Tom van der Voort, I think just goes into the back of Tom Vos slightly there, loses it a little bit, but stays on the track. Is that going to allow Mike Quint around the outside here? Sure, Mike Quint will be wanting to just tail whatever Danahan does, keep on the back of him and potentially get a bit of redemption here for race 1. And he does so there. He made the move on Tom van der Voort and Scaron with a quite aggressive move to also take that place. But yeah, so this is the mistake from Tom Vos just at the final corner. Yeah, just sliding under brake.
We need to go to the lead because Isaac Morris is really close to Jack Nicholls, and I think Isaac Morris will go for the move for the lead. He is going, need to go around the outside. There he goes. He is now his head. Can he brake later? He's trying, but Jack Nicholls is trying hard. Oh, they touch, but Isaac Morris passes, but a very good exit from Jack Nicholls into turn 3. So now they've got the long straight. just a straight. And let's see, goes around the outside, but he can't overtake Morris now. So Isaac Morris takes the lead for TOP Esports. Will they get their first win of the season, Josh?
Well, I predicted it before the race, and I was a bit surprised with Jack Nicholls' start, and he had a lot of pace still, so I don't think this is over yet. But yeah, obviously it is looking good for Morris at the moment, and this has allowed Lopez as well, actually, to catch right up onto the back of him. And Scott Mitchell as well, obviously Nicholls' teammate, isn't too far behind either, so I'd say that Jack Nicholls just has a slight lock-up behind Isaac that extends the gaps a little bit. But yeah, this isn't over yet. They're all very quick drivers there at the front. So let's see a repeat of race 1 here with a lot of battling for the lead. And further behind, it's sort of calmed down a little bit. Denon has obviously made his way through the pack a little bit. It's now got some clean air. But further behind, you've got Mike Quint wanting to do the same. Gonna make a move potentially around the outside of Tom Voss here. Turn 1 with the 6 and DRS. He breaks a little bit later, but they're still side by side at the apex. Mike Quint, and he's got him there into turn 2. But would Tom Voss be able to have any reply to him going into turn 4? Doesn't look like it potentially, because they've both got the DRS. Tom Voss, it'll have to be a bit of an aggressive move, and yeah, he doesn't go for it.
Oh, it's so close for the lead. It's still very close for the lead. It's Morris, it's Nicholls, and then it's Lopez, and he will take them both out. No, rejoin. And where is Isaac Morris? Isaac Morris was off.
Isaac Morris went for a spin on the grass there. He's dropped all the way down to P7. That's such a shame. It was, I think they just were a little bit too close, a little bit closer than they thought, and a few people trying to go for a move there, and yeah, just unfortunate they came together.
We can see that back, and it's a Kings 1-2 at the moment. It's Nicholls and then Mitchell. Oh, interesting. And
yeah,
Lopez.
Nicholls got some damage, I think, potentially. I think, yeah, he had a bit of contact in all of that, and he seems a little bit off at that final corner. But I mentioned that Jack Nicholls had his only win in Australia Race 2. That happened to be a Kings Racing 1-2 there, but at the moment Scott Mitchell's teammate is going to be let through, take the lead, keep it as a 1-2 at the moment, but is Nicholls carrying any damage, and will he be able to keep this pace up towards the end of the race? This has allowed Sonneveld back into this fight for the lead, who had dropped off a little bit, and it does mean Jake Dennehan is not too far behind either himself. So potentially just giving out your prediction of Dennehan getting that 4 race wins in a row. Could happen
that would be
here.
Very interesting, but of course he still needs to overtake four drivers, and yeah, the others look quite fast, so we shall see. And Mike Quint is following Jake Dennehan quite well, so
yeah, but we're going to see a replay here. So he had Nicholls there trying to look around the outside, not quite able to do it, and then I think they all just bunched up a little bit too much, a bit more than they expected here. Nicholls was trying to go for a move up the inside of Morris and just didn't quite see that Lopez was so close.
Yeah.
Lopez got very lucky to just cut through all of them there, and Isaac Morris, unfortunately, as a car in front and really the one not properly involved in it, unfortunately came off worse out of all of that.
Very interesting, of course. While we've got a move from P4, it's Jake Dennehan who's fighting Kai Sonneveld. But yeah, it looked like Jack Nicholls did, I think, a move, and he didn't expect Alejandro Lopez to be there, and actually he sent Lopez on another course off track. So yeah.
Yeah, we just had it there at turn 1. Sorry, Lopez looked for a move on Nicholls, but then behind Dennehan made a move on Sonneveld, and that allowed Quint through as well. Lopez is on the grass here, going into the grass. Alongside with Nicholls, they made contact at the apex a few times. That's allowed Dennehan through. That's allowed Dennehan through, and Quint as well, potentially. Side by side now with his teammate here. Nicholls has dropped back a little bit through all of this. But Lopez does keep it on P3 at the moment. But Dennehan there, you mentioned that he had a lot of people to get through, and he doesn't anymore because they all just sort of moved out of the way for him.
Yeah.
So, very interesting. There's getting quite feisty now, as normally happens in these race 2s. But yeah, now Scott Mitchell's still leading with a pretty good gap, but it's Jake Dennehan behind him now, so
yeah,
we know the pace that he's got.
I know Scott Mitchell can hear me, but I've got one word of advice for him: run. because the Irishman is coming from Scott Mitchell. But yeah, interesting, very interesting developments. And now we've got Mike Quint potentially going for P3 from his teammate. Will this teammate make it very difficult? Let's see.
Well, he still fights it and he locks up actually going into turn 1. So, yeah, don't look like there's any sort of team orders here, but I think Mike Quint will be wishing there was. I think he still wants to be following Denham through all the way, and it looks like now Lopez does move over a little bit to let him through.
But then it's stupid when you think like, oh, I'm going to defend really hard for turn 1, and then turn 3 you say, oh, let him pass. Then you could have done that, I guess, 2 corners earlier. But of course now he's passed. Can Mike Quint still get close to Jake Denham? I think both of them are in a league of their own. But yeah, it could very well be Jake Denham is going for 4 in a row. But Scott Mitchell is driving his his best lines he can do to prevent that. So let's see where it ends.
Yeah, we'll have to see at the end of this lap what sort of pace Denham has over Mitchell now that they've both had the clean air. But Mike Quint is back in the DRS of Denham, so I don't think he'll be wanting to let Denham go through and get that 4 wins in a row. I'm sure he'll have something to say about that. As he is across the line, Jake Denham here is about 4 tenths quicker than Scott Mitchell on that last lap. Mike Quint, obviously a couple of tenths slower, but he had to pass his teammate on that lap, so we'll see what he can do now. And further behind as well, you've got a lot of battling going on still here, really for P6. Got Sonneveld at the head of this. You've got the 2 TFT sports cars trying to make the moves on Scouron. Tom Voss is going to go around the outside here for turn 4, and he's got the overspeed at the apex, but they're still side by side coming out the corner. And we saw in race 1 that the inside car here normally has a better exit, but it's still side by side going up into the right hander. And Scouron there just carrying more speed through there on the outside line, but Tom Voss is going to have another look up the inside, can't quite do it. So Scouron keeps that P7 at the moment. I think Scouron has potentially been a little bit unlucky here. He was the one that was ahead of Denham and Quint for most of this race, but maybe he hasn't quite able to catch the same opportunities that they did to make their way through onto the podium. So Scouron down at P7. Further behind as well, you've got Tom Parker now trying to go for a move on Tom Vandervoort. I think they are good friends outside of all this, so I don't think they'll go for anything too.
We've got a move for P2. No, not yet. I thought Mike Quint wanted to go for a move on Jake Denham, but he didn't do it for now.
Yeah, we've got Parker and Vandervoort still side by side. They're going into turn 1. Parker has got the move there going into turn 2. So yeah, they did keep it clean. Further in front, we've now got Sonneveld trying to make the move on Jack Nicholls here to take P5. Going to be able to do it around the outside of turn 4 here. They're proven to be quite difficult here, and he's not quite able to do it. And behind as well, I think Voss was potentially looking for a move on Scout, but not able to pull it off. So they all stay in the same positions as before. But this is a lot of people seem to have a lot of pace over Jack Nicholls here, trying to make their way through, but proving difficult. I think in general a lot of people will probably be running quite low downforce here, so all the slipstream and DRS won't be helping them as much as potentially at other tracks. But meanwhile, further to the front, let's say, so Denham has been slowly catching in on Mitchell, but Quint has been catching in even faster. So he's got the slipstream and the DRS once again. He said he had a look for a move on the last lap, but he's a lot closer here. You have to go up the inside here into turn 1, and just like in race 1, Denham lets him go for it. So Quint at the moment is in P2, but is Denham going to be able to do exactly what he did in race 1 and get him up into turn 4? We will see. He is very close, and he's got a good exit, and he is going to have a look up the inside here. Mike Quint not quite able to break his late, so Denham does keep that P2. So once again, Mike Quint, I think, being a bit frustrated here.
Big battle for P5. It's
Sonneveld around the outside again, and Scouron and Tom Voss as well side by side. So got another big pack here going into this upper right-hander. Nichols keeps the P5s. Voss has made the move around the outside of Scouron. Morris as well was trying to have a look there. And is he going to be able to make the move on Scouron as well? Potentially, no, not quite. And Tom Parker has come out of nowhere here to try and have a look around the outside of Morris, but not quite able to make the move himself. And that's Tom Vandervoort as well, side by side too. So this train is just extending. It's all the way from P5 to P11 at the moment. So I'm sure the final few laps will see a lot more battling going on. Further in front as well, I think Mike Quint has not quite been able to be as close to Dennehan on this lap as was before. And yeah, he doesn't go for the move up into turn 1 this time. Yep. But will he be able to do now what Dennehan did on the last few laps up into turn 4?
More importantly, I think Scott Mitchell did the same lap time than Dennehan and Quint. So I think he is quite sure from that P1, if he just stays on his pace, then I think he will just be having enough of a margin on Quint and Dennehan. So we shall see.
So behind now, this battle is still raging on. You've got Tom Voss trying to go up the inside of Sunvale. They make a bit of contact at the apex. That's allowed Isaac Morris through all of them. Tom Parker as well. Oh, Voss is out. Voss is off into the wall at high speed. He's lost his front wing there. Such a shame for him. I don't think he just sort of got caught out by all the cars coming around him, and he is now out the race. That's such a shame for Tom Voss. He's having such a good race there up in the top 10, but you can see he just made us move up the inside. There's a bit of contact, put them both off, and then with a lot of faster cars coming through, it's difficult for Voss, and he just lost it there into the wall. Such a shame for him. He was going to get some good points, but meanwhile back into this battle, Jack Nichols has dropped down to P8 for all this. Tom Parker has got his way up into P6, which was a great job from him, and Isaac Morris is now the one leading this train. Further in front, not sure when this happened, but Mike Quint has got his way up into P2. Sure if Dennehan made a mistake on that lap, a bit preoccupied with the battle behind, but Quint has got into P2 and has got a slightly bigger gap now over Dennehan. Further behind as well, this battle raging on with Nichols and Parker side by side there in the centre S's. Nichols, I think, just got a bit caught up on the curbs there. That's going to allow Tom Vandervoort around the outside. And then the slipstream off Parker, he's made his way through into P7. Are there going to be any more moves into turn 4? Not quite for this lap. But Sonneville, though, has got a great exit there compared to Nichols. Out of turn 4, he's going to be able to make the move around the outside, not quite. In front, Vandervoort and Parker, almost side by side, but once again, not quite able to do anything. And now Sonneville looking up the inside of Nichols. And that's allowed Scouron as well, now making the move on Sonneveld. It's all going on here. Can't keep up with who's involved in this battle, but Scouron around the outside and not quite able to do it himself.
And now if we go to the lead, I think Mike Quint is getting closer and closer to Scott Mitchell, and we've got 1 lap to go now. And I think Mike Quint gained a lot on this lap. Let's look at lap time. 22.6, Rainy 1.7, so 9 tenths faster this lap, and we now on the final lap. Can Scott Mitchell win this race, or will it be Mike Quint who wins race 2, or will it be Jake Dennehan? He is still in contention for a win at this the second race and the final race of the 2021 season, the 32nd race. Yes. Well, we've got a lot of battles going on the whole grid, so if you see something, Joyce, let us know.
This battle here between Parker and Vandervoort is the closest one at the moment, and they've all sort of kept in the same position here. This big pack, they've sort of spread out a little bit, so the battle really is at the front. They're all very close now, all within 8 tenths of each other, these top 3. Dennehan, I noticed, was backing off on the straight on the final lap, on the last lap, potentially trying to set up a move here. But we've seen from race 1 that Quint doesn't necessarily have amazing straight line speed. I think he's running a little bit wide there on the exit. Is he going to have the straight line speed over Mitchell? It's going to be difficult.
It will be very close. It will be very close. Now the slipstream is counting, but I think Scott Mitchell has got enough. Scott Mitchell will win the final race of the 2021 season. Yes, he does. And it's Mike Quint again second. Again second from him, and Jake Dennehan in P3. Also very good race with Alejandro Lopez in P4. very well done with Isaac Morris in P5 after a crash mid-race. Tom Parker P7 with Tom van der Voort P6 for Tom Parker. Tom van der Voort P7. Jack Nichols in P8. Kai Sonneveld in P9, and the top 10 is rounded out by Damien Scoron. Luke Mitchell finishes in P11 with Guillaume Maas P12. Ben Willis scores points in P13 for Arthur Shearer Sim Racing. Then Damir Kuratko scores 2 points for Aspineo for Polonia, and Stefan Scheider in P15. And the final point in this race. So that was our season, Josh.
Yeah, that was that race 2 there summed up how a lot of the races have gone this season, really. Bit of a mad one, battles everywhere up and down the grid. Too much really to keep an eye on. Yeah, that was a fantastic race, and you had Scott Mitchell coming through there with a win. He for a while in that season he was looking like one of the total contenders. Fortunately for him, the TC Soft guys just seemed to pull away from everyone else in the grid, but earned his 3rd win of the season there to show that he has still got the pace. Obviously for a while there, Jack Nichols himself was leading. He also similar situation, very quick at the start, but maybe tailed off a little bit.
Yeah, and what I want to say is that Scott Mitchell has been very lucky in several races this season, and I think it's very good to see he got that the little bit of luck in the end. He didn't make the mistakes, others make the mistake. He took the lead and just kept the lead at the finish line. So I think well deserved from Scott. He's got P4 now in the championship. I think that's still very important. And to round it off with a win, I think that's always good. I'm not sure if he will be driving for Kings Racing, his own team again, or he goes elsewhere. But if you win the final Formula Challenge race of the season, that's always a thing you can say when you're searching for a seat, Josh. So like if you search for a seat next season, you say, I won the last race of the season's always good. While we've got a show of the donuts at the start finish line. Look at all those cars. They're giving a proper show.
Yeah, going until the engine goes there.
Like
you were saying with Scott Mitchell there, I think, obviously there's no bigger confidence boost really at the end of the season than winning the final race. And like you say, I think Scott Mitchell did have the pace throughout the season for more wins and more podiums potentially. But yeah, he did get caught up in a few incidents that I don't think were really his fault. So yeah, good to see for him to get that win. A shame for Mike Quinn. He had the pace really for this whole event. But P2 in both races, I think he'll be, I'm sure he'll be happy with the points there, but I think he would have quite liked to win. And Jake Dennehan not quite able to go for the 4 in a row, but still a podium to round off the season. To round off what has been a very successful season for him and for TC Soft Racing. I'm sure he'll be happy with that too.
Yeah, fully agreed there, yeah.
So, like we say, that was the final race of the season, and it's like at the moment there's not going to be anyone joining for interviews. I think maybe might be looking forward to the off season and having a bit of a rest.
I'm trying to get some people in. I think they all want to relax a bit because battles has been very, very intense. So yeah.
Yeah, but that was 16 rounds of Formula Challenge, all as mad at times as each other. 32 really good races. But yeah, TC Soft Racing winning everything, really.
Is there something which stand out for you? A round where you said like, "Oh, racing was amazing there," or a certain drive?
I'm not too sure about that. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I think the season really has been quite a lot of newcomers really to the league that have all shown themselves off in a really good light. And I think that's been sort of the better thing as well. I think a few redemption seasons really as well. Isaac Morris had a tough season last year as his first year in Formula Challenge, and then came back this year and showed that he did have the pace to fight for a title. at least at the start, before obviously deciding to move away a little bit. Uh, and then Dylan Platt as well on his debut season for us. He did a really good job with a race winning there. So yeah, I think it's good to see just the sort of a
Yeah,
lot of people having
the
good
talent
seasons.
progressing, I would say, the talent
Yeah,
progressing. Yeah, I think one of the highlights of the season, I think there were a few races who were like really intense, also with a lot of drama. I believe that was one of the China races where we had, I believe, a crash in one of the first laps, I believe, of race 2. I remember that as one of, well, the highlights of the season, because there was a lot of drama at that race at China. I remember that. Also, I believe at Japan race 2 was very interesting, and yeah, I think the most the best drive I saw, I think, was 2 weeks ago from Jake Denham winning both races. That was so, yeah, so dominant, and then to got the title there was really good. So we saw a lot of great drives this season, and if we would talk about everything, I think we need to extend this this broadcast for, I think, at least 2 more hours. So let's not do that, because we got a few guys who want to get interviewed. So just I leave them to you.
yeah. I think. Well, I suppose it's only fair we speak to the race winner of tonight, Scott Mitchell, claiming your was it third win of the season. Scott, how's that? Well, the perfect way to round off the season, really, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. It's not too bad. My Fitbit was actually going absolutely crazy tonight. First in race 1, and then race 2. I don't think I've ever concentrated that much in a race before. So no, really cool. Obviously, massive shame to get into the lead that way. I know obviously Jack's not that kind of driver, so he hasn't done that on purpose. But in terms of the end result, just obviously we started off King's Racing as a bit of fun for me and Jack to just mess around. So to end our first proper season in Formula Challenge with another win is just, it's just mega.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And have you got plans of keeping it around then for next year? I mean, you've shown that obviously you had a difficult season really in Super Cup the year before, but you've shown, I think, that Formula Challenge is really good for you guys. So is there plans to keep the team around and have a bit more fun next year?
Yeah, we'll see. It'd be nice to keep the team going. Whether or not we take part kind of depends on calendars. For me, it's dependent on the F1 calendar. But yeah, Jack and I have had loads of fun doing this. I think it's safe to say that we were out of our depth in Super Cup, ability wise, and in terms of having a clue what we were doing. We were just chasing setups every weekend, and just we didn't have a clue. So this was just so much more fun, and it's been really nice to be involved with. Hopefully it's a kind calendar next year. Combines well with Formula One and Formula E for Jack. So yeah, we'll absolutely try and be back because we've had so much fun this season.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. Menno, have you got anything to add as well to our Scott here?
Yeah, well, I noticed that you had quite a bit of bad luck this season. To end this season off with a high, with a win, how much does that to you? How important is that? Because you were at the wrong end of some incidents which were not like your fault. How does this win then feel?
Well, thanks for siding with me on that one. I think I was probably responsible for some of my own bad luck along the way, but it's been a bit hit and miss sometimes. And obviously, like US, the penultimate round was so bad. I think my steering wheel disconnected before race 1, and then I did like half a lap in race 2. So I was ending the season on a real low point. So this was much better. The main thing is that it's just been really fun to do. Obviously, we're doing it with our own team. Me and Jack have just been doing this for fun. My brother's racing in this championship as well, and Luke's done a brilliant job this season. So honestly, it's really nice personally to end on a win. But the main thing is that we've just had like a really enjoyable time doing it, and I sort of just want to repeat that it really is a shame that the race 2 went that way. I don't really think I was on for the win. I might have won. I think I would have got P4 in the championship anyway. I hope so. But obviously, I can't. I can't be too unhappy with the way it played out for me personally.
No, okay, no. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that are all questions we've got for you so far, Josh. Anything else?
No, I think that's definitely. I think you summed it up well. That well, yeah, it looks like you had a lot of fun through the season. Obviously, like Menno said, maybe a bit of bad luck, but obviously that's bound to happen in 32 races with some relatively inexperienced people. So yeah, like I say, good way to round off the season for you. And well, it'll be nice to see you and Jack stick around for next year. Or see if it's all able to do so for you.
Yeah, absolutely, awesome. Right, thanks guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for everything this season.
That's all right. Thank you too. And we're going to move on now then to Marco Frelik here, team owner of Team Frelik, as the name suggests. Marco, you well, I suppose Scott Mitchell got the win there, so could change. But I believe you secured P3 there in the team standings. Your guys at least had a very strong race one there. So are you happy with that? Are you happy with how the season went in general to get to this point?
Yeah, I think we secured P3 in race 1 by 1 point. So race 2 was really just a relaxed drive for both. Yeah, I mean, congrats to Scott obviously, but unlucky for them, it wasn't enough. But altogether, this was fun. P3, probably the most that we could have done this year. So yeah, satisfied with that.
Yeah, that's good. And have you already got your plans for next year? Obviously in P3 it's well, not secured promotion. That's not how we do it here at GPV, but it's a good place to get promoted potentially to Super Cup for next year. Is that part of your plans? Obviously you also running a special livery today that seemed to be you trying to point towards the future. So is there anything you could share with us on that front?
Yeah, I mean, it's been confirmed that we'll be merging with a different team. But yeah, regarding which series we'll drive, obviously we want to go up, but you never know what's going to happen. So we're just going to wait really for the GPV day, I guess, and then we'll see what's going to happen next season.
Okay, well then, Menno, have you got anything else to add as well on that
Well,
point?
yeah. Well, let's say I've got one thing to ask. If you look at the whole season, what was the standout drive from your team this season? Which drive would you say like, oh, I remember that race because it went so well or was so unexpected? Marco.
I'd say Austria, but then people say, you know, someone else helped us win that race. So,
Yeah.
But other than that, I think Gerald, I guess Suzuka, it has to be Japan race 1. I mean, when everyone pitted and then we stood out and won the race. So
Yeah.
probably has to be that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that's interesting to hear, and I think that was all I at least have.
Yeah, thank you very much, then, Marco, for that one. It seems like, yeah, like we said before, everyone else seems to be a little bit tired from the whole season, so that's all we have for the interviews today. But we already did a sort of season roundup there, so I think that is all we have left to say over the season. It's been a very interesting one, very exciting one, a lot of drama throughout. But now we can head off onto the winter break before. Well, really, all sort of will get going again in February next year.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we have the final rounds of Super Cup on Thursday, and then on next week, the final rounds of the development series of Super League Lights and Super League. There's still championships up for grabs in those, well, at least Super League drivers wise. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But in the meantime, I've been Josh Downard with Menno as well and Szymon on cameras. And goodbye.
See you next year.